You are on. Oh, you went to Jack.
Okay. Easier.
Water.
Hey, Cass. Cass. Somebody's alarm's going on in their car. Alarm.
Yeah.
I got one of these, but I just leave it there. All right, everybody, good evening, welcome. First thing we're going to talk about tonight at this early hour, 6 p.m. is 74 Franklin Street, Mr. Palmer. Before we get started, has everyone on council been able to see the picture of Mr. Palmer has made 74 Franklin, the improvements that he's done? Everybody been able to look at the pictures? I would say that within the last 4 weeks or so, my opinion, Mr. Palmer, where are you at, sir? I know I see you very. Why don't you come on up if you don't mind? We had talked about this. Giving me some opportunity, of course. I have been past your home every single day for the last 2 weeks at different times. And I will tell you, it is a very, very significant improvement. Very, very good. Right? You have worked very hard. And like this, which I just had to look through, this shows and proves to me, as I stated at our very first meeting, when I very first met you, my job and my business is not to throw anybody out of their home, and so we gave you an opportunity. We did have some issues with some neighbors. There's certain parts of the law that we can follow, but after seeing what you've done here and all this work that you've done, I think, in my personal opinion, this is just me. I'm not going to talk about other council. I'll let the council members say something first before we get with you guys, and we have some backing, some support here. We'll ask them to say a few words, and then we'll go from there. Okay. I will tell you that I'm happy with what I see. And in my opinion, I think this is worth saving. And you and I have talked individually, and that's where I'm at with it. Continue working hard. I know we're getting into winter months, and we'll discuss a little bit after we're all done here on a time frame or whatever we need to talk about. But you are doing a great job, super great job. Okay, so I really appreciate, what you have done for the home. With that being said, also, and we talked about this too, I did have a couple of concerns about some of the, comments that were made on social media. They were directed at us. This is something that we did not just jump on. This has been going on for several years. You've been indicating that yourself, go back to 2023. So we kind of caught the tail end of it, and but we've been working with it. So we'll just keep it at that. Okay. Anybody on council? Would anybody like to say something on council before we start? Vice Mayor, you want to start off? You want to go last?
I'll go last.
Okay, Mr. Sands, how about you, sir? You want to start? No? Okay, Ms. Sexton, go ahead.
I've been by the property as well. Great improvements. And I don't think. So I stated 2019 because some of the issues were back then. We didn't file for the grant to have your property well. So just so everyone knows that. This was previous administration, not us sitting up here. We are enforcing ordinance, charter. And it came about, the grant, it was time to expire and we had to make decisions on it. The last 2 years, there was no improvements to the property, and that's what brought us here. So just so everyone knows, that's how this got brought up.
I have a problem with that statement you just made, because you said there's no improvements to the property either. I have proof in paper, proof in picture, proof in people that came in that will all tell you, I put almost every weekend in that house since I owned.
I'm talking about since we got involved,
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
all these last few meetings.
You said zero improvement, well, your words didn't work.
Yeah,
And I'm trying to just make sure everybody knows.
from the
That's
information
not
we
the case.
received,
From
from the information we received,
from-
yes, correct.
And he misinformed you, like I tried to tell you guys during the first meeting, that you guys were misinformed about your law.
Okay, so from the information we have received, it shows no improvements in the last 2 years. Whether that's right or wrong, I didn't go by your house a year ago. Year and a half ago, so I don't know what you did or didn't do. So from the time that I started looking at this, there was very little improvement. That's what I'm here to say. Since then, I can't stand by watching your home get tore down. That's not what we're here to do. So as it sits right now, you did a fantastic job, and the people that you've had help, kudos to them as well. That's all I have.
Mr. Joy?
I do know what the house looked like 2 years ago, and it is a huge improvement. And when this originally started, the municipality was geared to abate your property, right? As I looked through all of the documentation, I can tell you that I don't believe that it was correct, right? I mean, I know that it wasn't correct. So, and the last thing that I'm going to do is, you know, I took an oath to the Constitution more than once, and I believe in personal property. So that is not in, you know, it's not something that I was willing to do.
Mr. Beck?
No. I have nothing, I'm so with you, and like I said, I think that even from the very first time, I thought it was fine. There's maybe a few things, anything that demolish somebody's house, no. Well, the paperwork we have does show that this stuff was prior, but I don't see no reason, and I said that to you at the last meeting, and I think that everything you've done is just a cherry on top of what you already had done. Keep doing the good work. In reality, I expect probably things maybe slow down a little bit if you were doing work outside, obviously the winter. you know, I don't think this is something you're gonna drop the ball on. So yeah, we'll see. That's where I sit. So thank you for the awesome job in the community that got out and showed support. That's the community that I love. That's the caring and sharing community that I think at times we get away from, but what pulls us back because it's the glue. So awesome job and thank you, sir. That's all I have.
Yeah, just real quick. First of all, I've been walking by the house 2 or 3 times a week since this whole thing started. And I want to commend you. It looks great, really does. And want to thank you for doing a good job on the house. And really, the improvements really amazing. But I do want to second, and I'm not here to argue correctness of it. I'm not here to argue timelines. That according to the documents I have, when you took possession of the house in June 30th, 2023, it already had a final notice on it. So it has been ongoing for 2 years. All right, so I just want to say that some of the statements you made in social media cast us in the light of we're trying to take your house away. We've given you 3 extensions since I've been on this council.
Well, technically,
We're not trying to take your house away. We were trying to figure out ways so you can keep your house. All right, so I think we reached, at least I reached a conclusion. I don't see any reason to continue with the abatement. Okay, personally, I'll vote. But I can tell you that I was concerned and I was disturbed by the representation that somehow this was just 2 weeks old and that we had decided arbitrarily that we were gonna take your house down. Because that was not the case. We inherited this mess and we're doing our best to deal with it. And I want to commend you. You have my vote. You're gonna keep the house as far as I'm concerned. But now you've got your neighbors you gotta deal with, and you've got the ill will created there. So you're gonna have to deal with that. But just understand that that was concerning and in my opinion, wasn't exactly factual. Okay, so that's where I'm at. Thank you, Eric.
Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Hi, I've talked to you a couple times, and my one thing I do want to point out, the first inspection that was done by the fire chief had 11 things that stated on it. And when he came back and we by getting the extension, there was only 3 things that was on that list. So there was actually, if you look at that, there was a huge increase of improvements, not just fundamental in my book. And that's just my opinion only, okay? I was not for the house being condemned and to get them, because for one, the house was not structurally unsafe, and it was something that I felt that needed to be torn down anyways. I talked to, Mr. Paul many a times. I've been over there 4 times. And I really want to thank that anybody that helped him in the community to be able to save his house. I thank each and every one of you guys. Because this is what I love to see about our community. Coming together, loving each other, and being able to support each other. We're not all up here to agree, especially not me. If I stand for something, I'm gonna stand for it. And I don't care who likes it or not. I've already been backlash a little bit because of it, but it's okay, I can take it. So, but my thing is, I think that you've done an amazing job, like I told you the other night ago when I went over there. Keep it up, keep the yard clean up, keep everything that one of the neighbors or another neighbor, whoever, decides that they want the car, just make sure that the outside looks fussy. And then we'll come inside and get it done and move it in. I I think that it's gonna be a great home for you and Lebanon. You know, and I'm glad you had my vote from the very beginning. So I think I've been one of your cheerleaders, so I'm going to say it, you know, so I've been there trying to help any way I can for you. Thank you.
You have anything? I think you, and there's 4 people on your list that want to mention anything, I don't know if they want to or not, but I think what this is leaning to is you're gonna keep your home rather than lawsuit, that's not gonna be said to. Would you like to say anything, or would you like, these 4 would like to come up and say something? I think that just from what I've been listening to from every one of these council members, that the general consensus is that we will not move forward with demolishing your home. We will not give you a time frame. All we ask is you just keep.
But the abatement will be lifted.
Yes. And if you want, I can, if these people want to say something, they're welcome to. I don't think it's gonna change our minds, so we're all on your side. Does that make sense? But that's up to you. Would you like to say something, or have Mr. Tim Palmer, or Miley Palmer, Charlie Davis, Alexis Eddington, would you guys like to say anything?
Yes.
Come up here, please, if you will. Just come up here, please, if you will. And then state your name for me, so we know who you are. One person at a time, please.
Hello, my name is Miley Palmer, and I'm a junior at Dixon High School, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of my dad, Tim Palmer. I've watched many of these meetings, and I've seen my dad portrayed as someone who doesn't care or isn't trying. I want to make it very clear that it's not who my dad is. My dad is a very hardworking person, and everything I've learned about work ethic has came from him. He's put countless hours and money and effort into this house. He has made real progress over time, and he continues to work on it every day, often on his own, taking on a project that's much bigger than one person. This house is not just a building, it's my dad. It was my grandpa's dream, and before he passed away, he had a vision for this home, and my dad has been doing nothing but trying to live to be present, while also putting in hours working on the house. We still want to make that dream a reality. The improvements the house needs take both time and money. My dad works every day, supports his family, and still tries to move this project forward. Because of these meetings, he has missed very important dates in my life, like my 17th birthday, because he's doing everything he can to handle this situation the right way. This has been a lot for my dad because he cared very deeply about this house. In the past few weeks, my dad has continued to make improvements, start new repairs, and check items off the list. People in the village have even stopped to compliment the progress he's making. My dad is doing the best he can with the time and resources that he has. All we are asking for is a reasonable amount of time to finish the repairs and bring the property into compliance. My dad isn't ignoring the issues, he's actively fixing them. Demolishing a home that someone is currently improving isn't fair, and it goes against everything he's trying to do. I hope you can take a step back and see the full picture. My dad is one person trying to do something big, and he deserves the chance to finish what he started. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Charlie Davis? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, not the best speaker.
You're
Not used to having a microphone here. It looks like we already got what we were hoping for, that he's gonna keep the house. Big good thing. Before I left the house, like I told you, I should wear some nice clothes.
you're fine, don't worry, you're fine.
But I think that this right here is a good representation of the majority of the townsfolk here. The fact that we're everyday workers. Look at TJ back there, he didn't really dress up for this. Anthony was just like a twin. Point being is, none of these majority of people have time to do things like TJ's had to do on the house. He had like $10,000 in receipts. That's items bought. That's not labor. And labor is the big part of that. If you've ever had to pay for somebody working on a house, if the material cost is 10 grand, it's a big job. Big job. Think that if these are the kind of meetings that we've been having to have to keep people in their houses, we need to ask real serious questions as a town. Of what kind of community do we wanna be in? Do we wanna be in an HOA community where you pay for your property, but other people get to decide to tell you how to live in it? One person's complaints, I mean, how far do we take it? Are people gonna be fined for their grass being too long or anything that any person down the road doesn't like? Do we have to have a meeting every time that there's a complaint? I feel that people, if they feel that much about the property value, I think they should live in one of the HOA communities. That's what they're there for. I think I got a lot of people that agree with me on this issue. I think that, for the most part, people just wanna live their life, and for the most part, they are trying. I think, instead of giving complaints to the town council, if you have an issue with one of the neighbors, you should walk over and talk to them about it. That's it.
Very, very well said. All right, sir, good job. Alexis, did I say that? Anything? Is that your first name now?
Yeah,
You don't have to walk up here if you don't want to, but that's okay.
well, if I could at least sit in the chair, that'd be.
Sure.
That's fine. Brand may not be able to bring my chair. Okay. The reason why I've been disappointed in this council is because of November 4th. My brother felt ambushed because every one of you voted against him, even though you know he's fine. Let me be clear, I voted for every one of you, even this last election. I thought it was gonna be a workshop and that TJ didn't need the support. At the October meeting, you had done the right thing, so I had faith. And I was wrong. Until a little devil got into your ear. I see this simply as good and evil. It is evil to take away somebody's property when they are actively working on it, and he has showed you every single meeting of the progress. And the things that you didn't see was what he had to do inside, because he had to do improvements on the electrical and the water in order to move forward. TJ is a good person. I have had a lot of health problems, and he has always been there to lead a helping hand. That is what true neighbors do. They shouldn't cut you down and nitpick. Instead, they should reach out and help instead of complaining to somebody. That is what neighborhood I thought that I bought into. And that's what my daddy taught me. You need to stop listening to the parents before your job is on the line. I understand people who are not trying. I do understand that, and I've also seen that in here too, where they've not even tried. But you have to give people a chance and understand that they have work and children. I believe that the code enforcement officer is biased based on the Karen squad, the complainers. You need a neutral person that can see that some people are just miserable and trying to spread misery. And I hope that what you've seen here and the support that Mr. Palmer has brought forth, that you know that we are the majority. We are not the minority. And you need to see that and see the voters. And the people that was not able to come here, I was able to get letters. And they're in your packets. And I thank you, and I thank you for your time. And I hope that you'll vote the right way.
Anybody on council have anything further than Mr. Palmer?
I have nothing to say. I believe that Gary Long is bad for this town. I believe that whatever you guys have entrusted him to do has really pushed a lot of buttons around this town. I don't think he deserves his job or does his job in an effective manner. I don't believe he deserves the title that he's been given. And if you guys are gonna listen to the lies from him to judge people like me, then maybe you need to look at who's giving you the information. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody have anything from council? No? Okay. All right, I'd like to throw a motion out there for all of you guys. Okay? Do I have a motion to not take any action towards demolition of Mr. Palmer's home at 74 Franklin Street, New Lebanon, Ohio?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Yeah.
I'll go back first.
Okay.
Yeah. Councilmember Joy,
Yes.
Councilmember Back,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton.
Yes.
Councilmember Stans.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no. Motion carries.
Okay, Mr. Palmer. Unanimous approval, the house is yours, we will not demolish it, and we will rescind the order to have it demolished. We will not have a time limit. We're not gonna give you 30 days, we're not gonna give you 6 months, we're not gonna give you 2 years. Just work on it when you can. Winter's coming. Your daughter spoke highly of you, and we agree. Unanimous, we agree. So, we'll get some things fixed. But as far as you're concerned, and your family, your neighbors, and your friends, the house is yours, sir.
Thank you.
All right?
Mr. Mayor, may I add something?
Sure, go ahead.
Since this is all, wrapping up, is there, I imagine we're probably gonna send him notification saying that he's in the clear. That way there's documentation.
Yeah, you'll get legal documentation showing that there's no issues.
And we actually did that as council too,
Yep.
so we can see that
We'll make
list.
sure everybody. Yep. So you're good, sir. If nobody else had any questions for Council Mr. Palmer involving this incident or this motion we just discussed, that concludes this portion. 7:30 council meeting.
6:30.
Okay, 6:30, we have a budget here, which is next, so thank you for coming. Mr. Palmer, good luck.
That's pretty good.
Keeping busy, you.
Yeah.
Imagine. Shake your hands.
Hey, sir, how you wish luck? Good. It looks good. I mean, those guys really came in and did a great job. Yeah.
I'm getting with her.
I don't know if that makes any time, but it's. It was bad. It was. Yeah. It was so bad.
We're on
I'm on it.
Hey, and all that, pretty good, yeah. You know, I'm not gonna say that. On to these crack, they agree, good stuff. Oh, yeah.
If I'm ready, you know, that my son can be, because I don't run.
So it's not bad. You follow me around.
It's fast friend.
I didn't just see.
Bad.
I think it's good. We'll move this.
Then we gotta talk about the money. Somebody said that.
One day at a time, I suppose. Yeah.
Swear.
Teresa's going to go down, she's got her sister's.
And
So she's going to move to the one. So. But I'm just pushing the time.
Yeah.
And right up to that, she said. Even if the cat. Yeah.
I asked him about it.
We go out there and get it. Oh, it's not supposed to. That's the way it's.
I'm wrangling with those.
Especially nothing else. It's not prepare him, if you want to.
Take 3 days to put your middle set.
Great.
Actually, they're visiting on Monday.
More people will stay with the budget.
All right, everybody, we'll go ahead and get started. This is the 2026 appropriations budget meeting, prior to council meeting. We'll go ahead and turn it over to our experts that will get started. So good evening, thank you for being here.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. It's good to be here. The last time we were here, we were discussing with you the village's 2026 to 2030 5-year financial plan, which that, as we discussed, takes a longer term, higher level view of the village's plan and the financial outlook on a fund by fund basis. And it's used more for planning, long-term planning process. Tonight, we're presenting to you the 2026 appropriation budget. And this narrows in, focuses in just on 2026, but it is going to be very consistent with what we discussed in the 5-year plan. So we will get started. Hopefully, you can see that. So when we do a governmental budget, they have to be prepared on a fund by fund basis. I look at a local government as more or less like a holding company, where you have common management, common leadership, and under there are the multiple subsidiary companies that you must manage, but they're all very separate and distinct, and they're walled off from each other. And that's kind of how I look at fund accounting. You have, and the reason for this is most of the money received by a local government comes with strings attached, with requirements, with restrictions on how you can use that money. And so fund accounting is designed to wall those different sources of money off segregate them off into their own fund, so that you can demonstrate that you're using those sources of money in a manner that was required. So when you see, a lot of times you hear people talk, when they look at a municipal budget and they say, well, they have a lot of money in that fund, why can't they fix this problem over here? Well, it's because there is Ohio budgetary law that will restrict you from doing so. Because each of those funds, again, has to be maintained and managed as a separate and distinct financial and operational entity. The funds for a local government are segregated into different fund types. The general fund is the major operating fund, which accounts for everything that's not required to be accounted for in a separate fund. Then there are special revenue funds, such as the list you see right there. These account for sources of revenue that are earmarked or restricted for a specific use. An example being the street fund, for instance. There are actually multiple sources of revenue there with all of common purpose. You know, street property tax levy, you receive gasoline tax distributions and motor vehicle registration distributions from the state of Ohio. They're all restricted for the maintenance and upkeep and construction of your roadways. Then there are capital projects funds, capital improvement funding, and the main one that's active for you right now. And these are just to segregate the purchase and construction of capital equipment projects. The enterprise funds are kind of their own entity. These are business type funds. These are business type activities that are supported by user fees. And those user fees can be used only for that particular enterprise activity. And they need to be 100% supported by those fees. And that's a key fact to keep in mind as we move on later to talk about the water sewer fund. In doing this budget, we, of course, are looking at historical financial records, payroll records, debt records, interviews with various village staff, and then the 5-year financial plan was a key input into this budget. I do want to stop and thank the staff, the department head, many of the folks sitting here on either side of me participated in this process, and we've been asking them to do things that maybe some of them haven't had experience doing before. And so this will only get better with time. And I can tell you that these folks here were all active and eager participants in the process, and I thank them all for that. When we do a budget, we do it based on what I would say, what I call realistically conservative assumptions. You want to be conservative so that you don't cut yourself short. But you don't want to overestimate, or excuse me, you don't want to over budget. You don't want to do everything's going to break budget. Okay, sometimes you see that, and that's a struggle oftentimes with department heads. They want to give you the everything's going to break budget. And that just causes bad financial decisions. That causes you to cut places you don't need to cut. It causes you to look to perhaps raise revenue that you didn't need to raise. So we try to be conservative but realistic. The major assumptions for this budget, income tax. We have assumed that income tax collections will increase about 2.5%. That's actually a conservative assumption. It's been averaging a little more than that over the last 10 years or so. I do want to note, and this is actually a change from the draft we sent out to you on, I think, October 31st, that the 2025 income tax revenue will reflect only 10 months of collections. And this is the timing difference that pertains to the transition to RIA as the collection agent. They remit the taxes they collect for the village 1 month in arrears, so in 2025. So December of 2025's collections won't be received until 2026. So again, 2025 will look like it's short, in revenue or like decrease in revenue, which because there's only 11 months of collections reflected in 2025. We have assumed wage increases of 3%, some larger increases for things like health insurance and utilities. And then the capital budgets here are in accordance with the 2026, 2035 5-year financial plans. Staffing, administration budget reflects 6.2 full-time equivalents. Those positions listed there. The finance director, CFO position is currently a contract position. We're carrying that out for the time being. Also note that this reflects a reduction of about a quarter full-time equivalent from the 2025 budget. And this is due to the switch to RIA. Well, it was a full-time position becoming a part-time position. That person is they're used as the on-site income tax person to the extent it's needed, but they're also being used in other finance functions. So the staff has been reduced. Police reflects about 7.6 full-time equivalents. So the full-time positions in the plan would be chief, 2 sergeants, 4 patrol officers, and then about 1,200 hours of part-time patrol officers. I'll note that this differs from the current staffing, and some keen eyes picked that up from the 5-year plan. I was happy to hear that because those people were looking at the plan. That was good. And this is the target that the department has indicated we should move toward. And so there currently are people that aren't in the ranks that you see there. But as those positions are open up, they will be filled in accordance with that plan there. The staffing that you see there is sufficient to have 1 person on patrol, 1 officer on patrol, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, plus an additional 35 or so hours a week for a second officer on patrol. In the fire department, it's about 10.2 full-time equivalents, the chief and 3 full-time firefighters, and then 6, the equivalent of 6 full-time equivalents in part-time. This is sufficient hours to have 3 firefighters on shift 24 hours at all times, or every shift. I wanted to drop back to the police too. One thing I failed to mention, sergeants there. One of those would be an administrative sergeant. And one would be a patrol sergeant, one would be taking patrol shifts. In the service department, it's 8.25 full-time equivalents. This represents an increase from prior year budget of, increase is actually in that last line there, part-time labor. 3/4 of a full-time equivalent to provide additional hands at the treatment plants. That position was reflected, by the way, by your financial plan that you saw. Someone's back. And by the way, if you have questions, just offer them up, please. So we'll talk about some of the major funds here. The general fund. I've listed there the departments that fall under the general fund. The largest expenditure, we'll see this more graphically in a moment there, though, is the subsidy to the police fund. The revenues are as you see there. I like graphs. I don't know about you. I like graphs. Big charts of numbers are already followed, but there it is. And there it is in a graph. So for 2026, about 70% of the revenue in the general fund comes from the income tax. And you'll recall that 75% of the income tax dollars you receive go to the general fund, and the other 25% goes to the capital improvement fund. So this is that 75% of the income tax that goes to the general fund. It's the primary support for that fund. There is a table of numbers for the expenditures. And you can see at the bottom, the big item is the transfer of subsidy to the police.
Can we go back? Can we go back to one page?
Sure. There.
No, next one. Fines, licenses, and permits. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I think that is the biggest thing there. I believe is the cable franchise fees. I believe. Which are declining everywhere as cable becomes less.
That's what it is, cable
That's the
franchise
largest,
fee.
yeah, that's the overwhelming majority of that number. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. The expenditures proposed, the appropriations proposed, and the thing I want to mention too, when we talk about appropriations, appropriations represent a legal maximum that you can spend. So, if we're showing $100,000 to be appropriated to be spent in a particular fund, in general, you would expect that you're going to spend a little less than that because that is the maximum you can spend. But these are the proposed appropriated expenditures for the general fund. So you see the 46% of the general fund budget is that transfer to the police fund. And then you see the other departments as they break down. Going back to there's we're showing a 9.2% decrease. This is that percentage is from one budget year 2025 to 2026 budget year, a 9% decrease in the general fund budget. A couple of things going on, but the biggest thing there is there's a reduction in professional fees. It's fairly significant. The general fund balance, and this will show you the beginning fund balance at the beginning of each year, and then the revenue coming in, the expenditures going out, and than some of the interfund activity, but I want to direct your attention to the bottom two lines. And the cash balance that's budgeted for the end of 2026 is a little over $900,000. This, by the way, is less than what we showed in that earlier version because of two things. One, losing 1 month of income tax revenue, and the other was changing expenditures to reflect the recent law director's contract. Those are the two changes that were made from the earlier graph. But you can see, I mean, if you look at that net, the bottom next to the second from the bottom line, net increase, decrease in the fund balance. So this is the amount that you're taking in, the amount that your fund balance is decreasing or increasing. So if it's in red, your cash balance is decreasing. And then you can see a steady decline. And we talked about this during the 5-year plan. There's a steady decline in your general fund balance. And there's a graph of it. So that blue line is the fund balance, which in 2022 was over $1.4 million, and now by the end of next year, we look to be under $1 million. Now, the black line is that minimum reserve, that line that you never want to cross. And you still have a very healthy fund balance. The concern is just the trend that we see there. The street fund, and as we discussed in the 5-year plan, we think long-term, the answer for the general fund is whatever answer is determined for funding of law enforcement. Because the law enforcement, the police subsidy being such a large portion of the general fund expenditures. In the street fund accounts for those designated revenue sources. Property tax levy accounts for 50% of the money that comes into the fund. The remainder of the money is state share revenue, vehicle license fee, and gas tax. The expenditures are, as you see, if you look at the column to the right, there is a 27% decrease in the budget. That's really all in the capital outlay. There was a significant amount budgeted for street resurfacing. Actually, it was a supplemental appropriation earlier this year, and those particular plans for street resurfacing didn't materialize. So, in the end, there's a significant amount of unspent capital outlay dollars in 2025, but the capital outlay budget for police next year is about $100,000, and I'll show you that in just a moment. So, street fund expenditures, debt service. We'll get back to that. Look at that debt service line there, and we talked about this a few weeks back, but you can see the steady increase in that. If you go further back, it's a very large percentage increase. And it's consuming more and more and more of the street fund budget. You bring in about $230,000 in the street property levy, but the first $160,000 of it goes out for paying off the debt on previous projects. So there's, now looks graphically, about 1/3 of every dollar goes for paying back the principal on the debt. The street fund balance, you can see there's a decline in 2025 because there's fairly large street resurfacing projects that are done. And 2026 budget, there's a little bit of a decline, $195,000 balance at the end of next year. That's a healthy balance. There's that balance there. It's still above, remember the black line is the minimum reserve, the yellow line, get below that minimum reserve, you're still on that, still on the balance. And here we're talking about our cash fund balance. There's that longer term look at the debt payments. And they've pretty much doubled over the last 10 years. Let's look at capital. Street resurfacing next year, the budget calls for $100,000 of street resurfacing to be paid out of the street fund. But another 150 out of the capital improvement fund. So this has been a way to stabilize the trajectory of the street fund by offloading some of the street resurfacing to capital improvement fund. That's where 25% of the income tax goes. There's sufficient money to do this, and it's very helpful for the street funds outlook to do that. And I think we'll continue to do that on an ongoing basis. So then there are a couple other stormwater drainage and asphalt hot-ups, or the other capital outlays that are included in the budget. And again, the questions again about these kind of things, we're surrounded by some of the subject matter experts on my right and left. Fire fund, this is the healthiest of all the funds. Fairly significant revenue sources here. Yeah, property tax levy, you have revenue for fire protection services with the neighboring townships, and then EMS fees. And that's how that revenue breaks down. So a little over half comes from the township contract. And the budget increase is about 6% next year. And a lot of that is in staffing, and I'd say this budget reflects full staffing, and I think the chief can validate this. I think it's probably been a while since we've been in full staffing. And so this budget does reflect full staffing. So about 2/3 of the general fund budget is focused for wages and benefits. The fund balance, again, the bottom two lines, especially the bottom one here, that 600,000 plus cash fund balance in the fire fund is very, very, very healthy. And as you may recall from the 5-year plan discussion, this is the outlook for this fund is stable. There are the capital items incorporated into this budget for next year. And if we move on to the police fund, the main revenue sources here are just two revenue sources here, for the most part. Property tax, which covers about 50% of the operation, and then the subsidy from the general fund. That budget is going to be pretty flat from next year. We have, through supplemental appropriations, put a significant amount in that fund in 2025 for some of the state needs from the gentleman to my left for doing needed repairs of equipment, replenishing inventories, and so there's been significant investment this year. So the budget for next year, again, at the moment, is fairly flat compared to the current year. This budget, 3/4 of every dollar goes to pay the gentleman in uniform. You don't see any capital there because we also, like with the street, we have moved that over to the capital improvement fund. That provides some financial relief to this fund, to the police fund, which in turn provides relief to the general fund, which supports it. And the police fund balance, the cash fund balance, bottom line again, so 200,000 is a healthy number. But, again, keeping in mind that we've gotten there through that support from the general fund. It's only supporting about half of its needs. And there's that cash transfer from the general fund to the police fund over the last several years, and you can see that upward trend. It's leveled off a little bit in the last couple of years because of what we just talked about. We're offloading some of the capital over the capital improvement fund, so that's keeping that, capping that transfer from the general fund, or keeping that from increasing at a higher rate. There are the capital needs that are included in this budget. They're at the bottom, as I was discussing, these are all the actual capital improvement fund. Then the water fund, this is one of those enterprise funds that relies on 100% support from the money that is raised from user fees. And we've had this discussion many times that as you know, no rate increase since 2013. During that period of time, area rate has increased by 57%. We are recommending no increase, as we discussed in the 5-year plan, no increase for 2026, but to begin a series of rate increases in 2027. And the reason being that, as you'll see in a minute, as we have discussed, there's need for another very large increase in the sewer fund. And the plan here is to try to balance these so that there's not a large impact at any one time upon consumers. So the water fund can be delayed temporarily while we try to take care of the very critical need of sewer fund. Provided you with some comparables. Those amounts you see right there are based upon the city of Pickwood survey. These are 3-month numbers. This isn't a monthly. This is for 3 months. That's how they do their survey. So you can see that Lebanon is the lowest in the area and quite significantly lower than many, and quite lower than the area average. But that again, some increases to maintain stability of the water fund. Some increases will need to be implemented in the future. The water fund budget will decrease next year by about 4%. And that mainly is in the capital outlay, reduced capital outlay budgets. This graph shows you the relationship of the revenue coming in and the expenditures going out. And of course, you always want the green line revenue to be higher than the red line. But you can see that those have crossed, and then we're spending more than we're bringing in. So that's eating away the cash flow balances, and that's again why in the future some rate increases are going to need to be implemented to correct that trend. And there's the fund balance, the bottom 2 lines. You can see the next to bottom line, a lot of red, showing decrease in cash. And yet the fund balance of 400, right now we're expecting this year maybe 5 in the upper 5s. That's healthy. That's a healthy balance, but the trend, as we talk about some other funds, is not a good trend. So it needs to be addressed. And there you can see it graphically, that water fund balance, which was in 2020 over $1 million. We expect will be down more than 400,000 range. Here's the capital, and the capital list is fairly short for the water fund. We discussed during the 5-year plan. I think there are a lot of unidentified, perhaps large capital needs out there at the plan. And the sooner those can be brought on the radar screen, the better. Because, so you can plan for that in your rates. But those, for the moment, the list is fairly short. You see, they're not necessarily capital, but it did list a couple other things. There's 15,000 in there for test well sampling, try to identify a new water source. And then for leak detection services, 20,000. Then the sewer fund, last of the leak funds. This, again, relies solely on user fees. There was a 20% increase implemented in 2025, it was the first one in 7 years. And this budget provides for another 20% increase in 2026. Compared to the area, even with last year's 20% increase, Lebanon's sewer bills are under the area average and under most of the other neighboring communities. This budget decreases by 24%, again, is in the capital area, because this year there was a large, $200,000 Ohio Public Works Commission project that's reflected in there. It was the sanitary sewer phase 21. And that's not expected to repeat again, anything like that in 2026. Just like before, I think that we showed the water. This is definitely an unhealthy trend where consistently and sometimes to a large degree the expenditures have exceeded the revenues in the sewer fund, which is just eating away at cash balances. In fact, to the point where bottom two lines, and we haven't discussed, the sewer fund is in a deficit cash position, which is contrary to state law, but you have a plan in place and you're working on it, and so this will take several years. And when you there's the sewer fund balance on the left side of the screen, which will be by next year down close to a negative $300,000. With that, though, there's the second fund, the sewer rehab fund, which was used for some construction projects, and there was deficit spending in that back in the some years after deficit spending in that was never corrected. So it currently has $174,000 cash deficit. So when you put those together, it'll be over $500,000 with a deficit in a fund that's, even with the increases that we're bringing in, maybe $700,000. Therefore, this is a long-term project to recover from this. There's the capital included in the budget. Then we talk about water and sewer bills. So what you see here are 3 user profiles, customer profiles. There's the low volume user, 2,000 gallons per month. And it's my understanding that a large portion of your folks are more than that range. And then there's what I label the mid volume user at 5,000 gallons per month, and there's a high volume user at 7,500 gallons per month. So the 2025 water and sewer bill for that low volume user, for anybody who's using 2,000 gallons per month, right now their bill would be $30.62 based on current rates. If you implement no increase in water, a 20% increase in sewer, that person's bill would be $33.97, an increase of $3.35. For the middle volume user, it would be an increase of about $7, and then 10 for somebody who's a very high user. So I hope that, because when we talk about these percentages, they're scary. but they would put it in these, in perspective like this. I hope that helps people to be a little less alarmed. I just wanted to step back that we can, and then maybe celebrate some things that have occurred in the last year, in the last 12 months. 12 months ago, you had a large deficit in the construction projects fund. That was eliminated through action that you took. There was we eliminated a fund that had created without approval, okay, which would have been modified again, and corrected. During that time, in the last 12 months, there were delinquent financial statements that were filed with the auditor's state. There was an audit finding that went clear back to 2018, all the way back to 2018, that has now been cleared up. It will actually be on, it will still be a finding on the 23-24 audit because the approval that we got from the court came too late. But in any future audits, that was off the books. You have taken action, and I applaud you for it, of starting this multi-year plan to eliminate those large deficits that we just discussed. There was about $62,000 of overpaid workers' comp funds that have been recovered. There was 50, I don't remember the number. Yeah. 50,000 or so of permissive tax funds that were accessed to pay current needs that was just kind of sitting there waiting for you. We have been working with staff, and we'll talk about that. There's a resolution on the agenda tonight that falls in line with this, but working with the staff to implement processes to eliminate future budgetary compliance, non-compliance audit findings. There have been a few of those. And so some of those things are in process, and again, some here come approved tonight. A resolution I hope you approve tonight will help in that effort. You have implemented sensible financial policies. And you have gone down a process that I hope you continue, and that's doing long-term financial planning. And I really appreciate that you've embraced that process. So I think a lot of good has happened. I'm glad to take any questions. Would like any questions? It also looks like, once again, you've opened up the eyes for us and the people that are sitting here in the public. Some fixes that we still need to work out, stuff that we've accomplished, that's improved. And we appreciate the hard work that you've all been doing. We've all been doing. The manager, police and fire, Daryl went up to service, with Dennis, so people are moving forward. They're not taking any steps backwards. So I think we're doing a very good job. So we need to keep our foot again and keep moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We want to take 10 minutes or so before we start them off. I'm sorry, 15 minutes. Yeah. 15 minutes.
In the US Congress.
Yes, you're pretty fair. You're very fair.
Yeah, so at least kind of like that, we say.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're just. Okay. My dad. Say bye, Amanda's dad. Vincent's probably not gonna say bye, just a laugh. Come on, sweet boy.
Hello. I know, I was trying to get your attention.
Oh, I have to run out here.
I did feel out there, but still, yeah.
It's like fifth grade though. I'm like very good with them. Bye. Yeah.
Things are easy right now. Things are easy right now. I'm okay. Yeah. I know. That's That would be very good. Thank you. Yeah, it's very. Really? No, it's. Yeah. I told him, I can't. I can't do people. Well, fast. One we just. This later, he has a whole entire house right now. That order. Yeah. He said build the roads and they're all built up. They're putting it all. Yeah. That's hard. Yeah. That's not. Yeah. You should see them. Amazing. I mean, there's passes. Those are nasty. That one is not. I'll tell you. Almost everything. They give me part of
They say, how you doing, buddy?
Wait for my hand to get there. Like, oh.
You got bit by a dog? My neighbors or? Okay. Sorry to hear that.
You and I need. Guys.
Through the fence. Seriously. Through the fence. It's done through the fence. Close enough to the fence, he reached through. That's
Whatever you get.
I think my wife uses it. It's kind of, it's affected. It's not, it doesn't. I could.
I haven't checked.
It's something I use it. Even like this and stuff.
Years ago, it was like I took silver can to. You would take offense when you say we being ignorant. You just don't know. Once I give you. You put a key in my students. Yeah, you know, like no price. Was turkey pie. Pork chops. Ribs.
Okay, I got it. Then if you need water.
Any water? Yeah,
Water, anybody? Water.
You don't want it?
Yeah, my wife told me, it's all about.
Yes, I did. Fresh sausage. I like it too. I love the Lord. I just don't know.
Oh, yeah.
What I said earlier right now.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for asking about that. I can take that.
So. That's what. Some of the most soup.
It's a shame.
That's your.
Everybody leaving involved. So I call over this November 18th, 2025 regular council meeting. Please rise for the invocation of standing before the meeting.
Let us pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we're thankful for your blessings upon this village. We would ask that your presence would be here, guide and direct our thoughts, guard our tongues and our minds, and may your will be done as we deliberate and make decisions for the betterment of this village. In your name we pray. Amen.
United States of America. Republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next is verbal roll call, council members present for prayer.
Councilmember Down.
Present.
Councilmember Cooper.
Present.
Councilmember Jordan.
Present.
Councilmember Sands. Present. Councilmember Sexton. Present. Vice Mayor Hopkins. Present. Mayor Nicholson.
Present. Next, the approval of the November 4th, 2025 work session minutes. Are there any corrections or changes in these minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the November 4th, 2025 work session minutes?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Next, the approval of November 4th, 2025 regular council meeting minutes. Are there any corrections or changes to these minutes? No? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the November 4th, 2025 regular council meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
6 yes, 1 no, motion carries.
Next is the approval of the November 4th, 2025 executive session minutes. Are there any corrections or changes to these minutes?
One. It says Councilmember Sexton is absent at times. She's present, because she voted yes at the bottom. I just want to point that.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion to approve November 4th, 2025 executive session minutes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Next on the agenda is unfinished business. First ordinance receiving 2025-11, an ordinance amending chapter 35, personal rules and regulations, section 35.602 of the municipal code of ordinances of the village of Lebanon, Ohio. This is the third and final reading of this ordinance. At this time, I'll open the floor to any citizen comments or questions about this ordinance. No, okay. Does anyone on council have any questions or comments about this ordinance? Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-11?
Second. Councilmember Sands.
Yes.
Councilmember Becker.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton.
Yes.
Councilmember Joy.
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Okay, second ordinance 2025-12. An ordinance establishing updated garbage user rates under codified ordinance section 50.04 and providing for an automatic pass-through adjustment mechanism to reflect contracted hauler rates. This is the third and final reading of this ordinance. At this time, I'll open up the floor to any citizen comments or questions about this ordinance. No? Anyone on council have any questions or comments about this ordinance? Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-12?
Second.
Mayor Nicholson,
Yes.
Councilmember Sands,
Yes.
Councilmember Bath,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins. Yes. Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton,
Yes.
Councilmember Joy.
No.
6 yes, 1 no, motion carries.
Does anyone on council have any unfinished business? No. Okay, next on the agenda is new business. Section A, requested investigation. I'll go ahead and read this and I'll turn it over to Lauren. We have received an anonymous complaint requesting an open investigation to now acting manager Shannon Bemis alleged failure to comply with village ordinance 35.704 and Ohio Revised Code 124.57 by circulating petitions for the 2025 council election for two of the parties running for council seats while she is a current employee of the village. I'll turn this over to our law director, Mike Bennett.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I took a look at the email that was submitted, and I had some time to prepare a legal opinion regarding the allegations pertaining to New Lebanon Codified Ordinance 35.704 and Ohio Revised Code 124.57. I'll pass that out to council right now.
Sorry.
Okay. Please, council, I'm just going to get some highlights on this and I'll go through a lot of detail. So Mayor, at your request, I've reviewed email from People for Transparency, and I don't have any names associated with this group just yet, regarding Shannon's being circulation of nominating petitions for candidacy for the village New Lebanon Council members, candidates Teresa Cooper and Nicole Atkins. Email is going to be attached to it as an exhibit submitted to support their claim. There's other attachments to support their claim as well, all of which I examined. And to break this down, the question presented that I'm answering is, did Shannon Bemis violate Village Ordinance 35.704 or Revised Code 124.57 by circulating nominating petitions for the Village New Lebanon Council member candidates during July 23 through July 27, 2025, while employed as an administrative assistant with the village? I'd like to get to the answer rather quickly and short. I've got a section caption short answer. Short answer is no. Shannon Bemis did not violate Village Ordinance 35.704 or Ohio Revised Code 124.57. Petition circulating activities were conducted entirely on personal time and off village property without using her official position and occurred before she assumed any managerial role. Neither legal provision prohibits the personal circulation of nominating petitions when done in an individual capacity outside the scope of employment. And just to get to the heart of the primary ordinance in terms of second page, I've listed ordinance 35.704, and that's captioned political activity. And it states public employees by their nature of their employment are restricted from participating in certain political activities. Employees contemplating any direct or indirect involvement with a political organization, campaign, or issue should review this policy. A, employees may not become actively involved in the campaigns for New Lebanon Village Council. A1, political expressions such as posters, banners, or buttons are prohibited in village offices. Petitions for any cause may not be circulated if people are on village time or on village property. Item 3, these provisions do not otherwise prevent an employee from expressing political opinions, signing petitions, registering voting, so on and so forth. The core analysis is on page 3 of 5 and starts on the first paragraph that says Village Ordinance 35.704A1 is the critical point of this analysis. Importantly, the ordinance prohibits circulation of petitions for
any cost that is on village time or village property. However, this prohibition is explicitly limited to activities conducted during work hours or on municipal premises. Critically, the ordinance does not create a blanket prohibition on all petition circulation by employees. It is specifically a time and place restriction designed to prevent misuse of public resources. Furthermore, there is a fundamental legal distinction between circulating nominating petitions and engaging in campaign activities. Nominating petitions serve the essential democratic function of ballot access, allowing qualified candidates to appear before voters. They are administrative prerequisite for democratic participation rather than for advocacy of a particular electoral outcome. Again, a critical distinction in this case. The distinction is further reinforced by the fact that these were nominating petitions for nonpartisan municipal offices, where the circulation activity is even more clearly administrative and civic in nature rather than partisan political advocacy. This is distinct from campaigning, which involves actively promoting or advocating for specific candidates or positions. The circulation of nominating petitions is more akin to facilitating the democratic process itself rather than participating in partisan political advocacy, and should be analyzed under this framework rather than as prohibited campaign activity. Since Shannon conducted petition circulation entirely on her own time and off village property, she did not violate the specific prohibition. The ordinance does not create a blanket ban on all political petition activities by employees, only those conducted using village resources or time. So that's my conclusion on our ordinance, and then the analysis on the Ohio Revised Code basically follows suit. And so, I mean, I understand the concern that was raised, but I've rendered my opinion and be happy to discuss it outside the chambers if anybody else has any questions. But I would note that this item is on the agenda at the request of Councilman Sands, and I believe Councilman Troy. So I guess if any one of those councilmen would want to further the discussion, I think that's their right to do that at this point.
Mr. Sands, you have anything to say?
Well, I have something, I have an issue with the fact that it says in here that she circulated the petition from Mr. Joy. That was even long before she became an employee of the village, so that I have no problem with. But once you become an employee of the village, I have a little issue with it.
Well, I think the reason why it was brought up because in the complaint, it was stated that I also circulated petitions for other council members before I was, but that for some reason was left out, that I circulated twice for Mr. Joy.
Well, but it was before you were.
I will always circulate petitions for anybody, I guess.
I understand.
It's democratic way, I will always sign a petition or I will hear that.
Let's let
That's all I have, that's all I have.
Thank you.
and what's not back into the back.
Do we have anything?
Yeah, I completely disagree. I do agree that she did circulate petitions for me, and I appreciate that. I wasn't planning on running, so, her circulating petitions, getting on the ballot is why I'm here right now. So, but the fact is that 35.704 specifically states employees may not become actively involved in the campaigns for New Lebanon Village Council. Circulating a petition for a village council member is actively engaging in that campaign. So, you know, I have a serious issue with the fact that a manager, acting manager, clerk of council, and a administrative assistant who is supposed to know these ordinances and dictate policy to the other employees. This is just improper. I mean, completely improper. And as far as that goes, the ORC states the same thing. No officer or employee in the classified service of the state, the several county cities, and city school districts, or the civil service townships shall directly or indirectly, orally or by letter, solicit or receive, or be in any manner concerned in soliciting or receiving any blah, 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 right? So, and she did that. And, I take serious issue with it.
And I'm not, I'm sorry, I'm not classified.
No, you're not recognized. That's all they're figuring.
I mean, Councilman George said that's his opinion, that's fine, I've rendered mine. And, I don't see the merit in going back and forth, but if you want to give him this meeting an opportunity to speak, I think that's fair.
So I do take things very seriously and I do stick by the rules. I did consult an attorney before this because I was asked to circulate petitions. I was a volunteer employee. Council had issues with me being a volunteer employee. So I was asked that I need to be paid in order to access files, otherwise I would still be a volunteer employee. When I was asked to circulate petitions, I did contact my attorney. Of course, I know to always double check things before I do things. I am not a classified employee. I am not classified, so the ORC does not apply to me. I circulated on my time, and you can see by the signatures, it was 12, it was literally my family and a couple neighbors. I was not gonna go out and do a lot of legwork. But I was definitely well within my right. I did not endorse any candidate. And I will always, circulate petitions according to the law, the ordinance, and the ORC, and I'm well within my rights, and I did verify that before.
Okay. Resolution 2025-36. A resolution authorizing a request for an advance of taxes collected for year 2025, election year 2026. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-36?
Second. Councilmember Joy.
Yes.
Mayor Excited. Councilmember Sands.
Yes.
Councilmember Beck.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Okay, next one, resolution 2025-37, a resolution authorizing the acting village manager to enter into an agreement with the Office of the Public Defender, Montgomery County, Ohio, 117 South Main Street, 44 Dayton, Ohio, 45422, to provide legal services in 2026 to indigent municipal residents charged by village officials with violation of village and or state of Ohio laws. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I did receive a phone call from a resident asking about this. This is an annual agreement that we have with the Public Defender's Office for indigent municipal residents that are charged through Lebanon. This is standard, this is every year, and the fee we were paying was about $197 per case. And the 1-year agreement for 2026 is going up to $202.55. This is customary, so I just wanted to explain that. Thank you.
You said that was up from like 190 or something like that?
$197 per case, to 202 per case. Yeah.
Perfect. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-37?
Second.
Councilmember Sexton.
Yes.
Councilmember Joy.
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson.
Yes.
Councilmember Sands.
Yes.
Councilmember Beck.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Resolution 2025-38, resolution adopting a purchasing manual for the village of New Lebanon and declaring an effective date. You want to move it off?
I was gonna ask for some more clarification on this. And I can have also a finance district time in. So we are starting to instill internal controls in our financial department. And this is a manual, and I can probably post this, I'm just gonna be public record. And what it does is it gives direction and guidance on how to make purchases. And we've had Attorney General audit findings that we've been not compliant for several years when it comes to purchasing. So, for example, if you purchase something for $250 or more, you need a purchase requisition. If you have a purchase between $1,000 and say $5,000, you need to have at least 2 quotes. So it is holding the people and one of our financial consultants, he says it really well, treat government money like it's your own money you're paying. So if you have a furnace that needs replaced, you're not gonna go with the first guy that comes out, you're probably gonna get quotes. So, we met with all the department heads yesterday and tried to explain that just because it's normally a supplier you would go to, let's try to shop around, get 2 or 3 quotes depending on what the purchase price is. Tom, I don't know if you wanna jump in on anything else.
I'll answer any questions.
Okay. So this is, like I said, this is just putting it in paper, what the guidelines are for purchasing. So the department heads are following it and that we have requisitions and purchase orders in place for all purchases. And that's to comply with Ohio budgetary law. So
Is there a way council can get a copy of that?
that was in your packet.
Anybody have any questions?
Under, section 5, it says council notification. I just want to know, it says that, council should be notified if an emergency purchase is more than $10,000. Is that standard for villages and so forth?
That's on page
Section 5, I'm sorry, section 5.
Oh, okay.
The last, I think, just above number 6.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a notification level that I have used
Okay.
previously. It's just a point of transparency.
So it's just like a brand new.
It's simply, yeah, it's simply.
But I didn't know that was standard for, all villages our size.
Not necessarily standard, it's something, it's a level that I have used in the past.
And it seems to work.
Yes.
Okay, because I'm gonna have to like go out and charge something for $9,998 when I notify council.
But it would have to be an emergency purchase.
Right, but I mean, $998, $9,998 for $10,000.
That means that
There's really no requirement under Ohio law, you know, application anyway.
I know
This is that. Yeah, this is really going above and beyond what Ohio budgetary law would require. It's just something that I feel is important for transparency with council.
Exactly, yes.
Do we have questions?
Can I make a motion that we table this until our next meeting so that I have a chance to actually read this and talk to them about it?
The motion pending, is there a second? No second.
So, yes.
There's motion second to table this resolution.
Councilmember Cooper,
No.
Councilmember Sexton,
No.
Councilmember Joy,
Yes.
Mayor Nixon,
No.
Councilmember Sands,
Yes.
Councilmember Back,
No.
Vice Mayor Atkins,
I would say yes, because I haven't tried it out. So.
that'd be 4 no. 3 yes, motion carried, or, I'm sorry, motion fails. 0.
Mr. Bryant, question.
Go ahead, sir. Yeah.
On quotations and bids. Now I read this, sir, I think we got an email on this, didn't we? Something. Anyway, make a long story short, it says informal bids are encouraged but not required for purchases less than 1,000. Then anything greater than or equal to 1,000, can you define an informal quotation? Is that writing? Is that by phone? How does that work?
Like I said, it would be a phone call
Okay,
or something to that nature.
so you would call a vendor and go, hey, what are you guys charging?
Yes.
Whatever, you know.
Yes.
Is there any way to document those or?
We're encouraging the department heads when they submit a requisition to note that on the requisition.
Yeah. That's it, I'm sorry, thank you.
All right, orders 2025-14.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
We don't need a motion to adopt.
Oh, I do have a motion to adopt the approved resolution 2025-3.
When you do, is this something common that you usually do every time you have, when you're doing financing for a village or something, is this something that is very common that you put together, and is this like a lot of other villages has the same handbook similar?
It's again, it's something that I have used in the past, and this all originates from your charter. Okay, because your charter in, I can't remember it's 6.01 or 6.10, indicates that the village will do its purchasing and contracting in compliance with an ordinance adopted by council. To the best of our knowledge, that ordinance was never adopted until a couple of months ago when we brought forth an ordinance, and that ordinance was of a very high level, which specified bidding procedures for various levels of expenditures, dollar amounts of expenditures. And in that ordinance that you adopted a couple of months ago, it referred to a purchasing manual that actually the ordinance says could be adopted administratively by the village manager, because this manual is simply guidance to the village staff to help to give them guidance to be good stewards of public dollars and to remain in compliance with Ohio budgetary law. Even though the ordinance said that it could be adopted administratively, it was my opinion that I thought, again, for transparency, it made sense to bring it here, to have to have you all take a look at it and adopt it as embrace it as your own policy. Our goal for this, again, is to be good stewards of public dollars, but it's also to avoid some of the, well, there have been non-compliance findings, and there will be one in this upcoming audit report in 2023 and 2024 for some of the very things that are addressed in here.
Okay.
And in past audits, there have been that same finding. It's repetitive. And so this is a part of an improvement plan that we're bringing forth, along with the training of the staff to try to prevent that from ever happening again. But I know that's a long answer to your question, but I really want to get that out.
A lot of what I wanted to know, so thank you.
All right, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-3?
So moved.
Second,
Councilmember Cooper,
yes.
Councilmember Sexton,
Yeah.
Councilmember Joy,
No.
Mayor Nicholson, Councilmember Sands,
Yes.
Councilmember Bath,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins.
Yes.
6 yes, 1 no, motion carries.
Okay, next one, ordinance 2025-14. An ordinance to authorize supplemental appropriation to the 2025 expenditure budget and declaring an emergency. This is an emergency real. We will get it now.
Do you mind touching on this emergency appropriation?
It's typical at the end of a year, any year, and this is typical in about any municipality, to have a final supplemental appropriation when you take a look at your budget and make sure that you're going to end up the year, make sure you're going to be in compliance. And so this is simply that last look at the budget and making any adjustments that we saw were necessary. I don't have any particular comment on the emergency nature of it, but it's it's not atypical to have legislation that is authorizing appropriations to be an emergency, in other words, effective immediately upon adoption.
All right, do I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-14?
Second. Second. Vice Mayor Atkins? Yes. Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton?
Yes.
Councilmember Joy?
No.
Mayor Nicholson? Councilmember Sands?
Yes.
Councilmember Beck?
Yes.
6 yes, 1 no, motion carries.
Ordinance 2025-15. An ordinance to approve the annual budget, adopt appropriation for current and other expenditures, and authorize the transfer of the monies of the village of New Lebanon, Ohio for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2026. And this is the first reading. We will schedule a second reading and public hearing for this ordinance at the December 2nd, 2025 meeting. Next ordinance, 2025-16, ordinance amending section 51.01 of the codified ordinance to update sanitary sewerage system rates and charges. This is the first reading of this ordinance. We will schedule a second reading public hearing for this ordinance at the December 2nd, 2025 meeting. Does anyone on council have any new business?
I actually had a meeting on Monday with, Site Stream. Yes. What is Site Stream? Site Stream is, what it is it's cameras that can go on school zones or any streets as well. And they put the cameras in 100% free. It costs the village nothing, okay? But we always know about the school zones. Everybody's saying that people speaking through the school zones. We know how to find to do the best to catch everybody that's in the school zones. But if we have a camera in the school zone, it will actually catch everybody that is speeding through that school zone. You can set it up as for 30 days as a warning that, and the village has control over it. You can set what the speed is, what you're gonna allow them to be able to go over and what they're not. You can actually exclude like the cop cars and the village and vehicles in that. You could get them that they're not gonna be part of that. You could also, you set your own what you want to allow, and they work closely with the police department on that. It, like I said, it costs nothing, but then we are also looking at a cash flow. If any tickets that gets written on it, the village will get 60% of it. And then they get the 40%. So it's a good, thing, but I was just letting you guys know, I'm just bringing it up, and if you guys want to look at it, the information's there. So. And then you can give them this too. And there's other villages that has it too.
Okay. All right, thank you. Next is public comments or questions. I'll call your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes, 3 minutes to speak and be heard. Once your time is up, you will be thanked. No additional time will be given and no donation of time by others. 2 others will be allowed. We will not be stopping your time to make it necessary to address your comments after you are done speaking. First person speaking, Colin Kenny, 14 Rosetta Street. Hello, good evening. Good evening.
Before I begin, I want to make clear, views I express tonight are solely my own as a resident of the village of New Lebanon. They do not represent nor are they connected to my professional service with the United States. My name is Colin Kenny, resident of 418 Rosetta Street, and I'm here tonight to demand the resignation of Council Member Timothy Lee Bagg due to his documented lawsuit, open tax judgment, and the erosion of public trust. If resignation is not forthcoming, I am demanding council action to address his inability to maintain financial obligation and his unfitness to serve. On October 21st, a nurse called for officer response to the suspected child abuse in Mr. Bagg's residence. Dispatch records confirm CPS involvement and a juvenile transported to Children's Hospital. On October 23rd, Mr. Bagg's presence at Dixie Elementary School triggered a lockdown during dismissal. The 911 audio confirms the lockdown, and parents reported children released individually instead of the normal dismissal process. Dispatch notes confirmed superintendent stated Mr. Back was not permitted at schools during dismissal. Taken together, alleged child abuse requiring CPS involvement, a school lockdown triggered by his presence, and ongoing financial judgments, these incidents form a clear pattern of disruption and obligation failures that erode public trust. Mr. Back is the defendant in an active civil lawsuit filed October 1st seeking $73,000 and $826 on a 2024 Chevy Silverado. In addition, the State of Ohio Department of Taxation obtained a certificate of judgment in Montgomery County for $399.52 in unpaid personal school district tax. Both dockets remain open. These are documented ongoing obligations. The council has already removed a member for unpaid village taxes. That precedent was set to protect the integrity of this body and the trust of the residents. So I ask directly, what makes this scenario different? If unpaid taxes justify removal before, how can an active lawsuit, an open tax judgment lien, and documented public safety disruptions not justify removal now? Even if future developments narrow or resolve any single record, that does not erase documented dockets, the public disruption, or the erosion of trust. Representation requires more than avoiding charges, it avoids community confidence. Bringing these matters to light is entirely relevant given Mr. Back's elected position. Public office requires credibility, accountability, and the ability to effectively be a voice for our community. These obligations are not optional. They are the foundation of trust between residents and their representatives. For these reasons, I am demanding the immediate resignation of Councilmember Timothy Lee Back. If he refuses, I am demanding this council take formal action to suspend or remove him for cause, based on his inability to maintain financial obligations and the documented public disruptions. The residents of New Lebanon deserve leadership free from lawsuits, tax liens, and public safety concerns. This is not a request, it is a demand, and the responsibility now rests with this council to act.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, sir.
Mr. Mayor?
No.
Yeah, I just respond with one thing.
You can mention it during your council comments.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Ashton Holloway, please, the chamber of commerce. Oh, I know. Hi, Ashton, come on.
Okay. Woo, about knocked it off there. Okay, so I'm super excited to announce on behalf of the chamber and the Dixie Music Program, the New Lebanon Christmas in the Village Day. We've got the Christmas program, it starts at 9. The craft show is from 9 to 3, and then the lighted Christmas parade. It starts at 5:30, the lineup is at 4:30. This year, the Grand Marshal is Caroline Comer. She is part of she is the developmental director for a, youth men's, it helps them get jobs, education, tutoring. It's kind of like she mentors them, and guides them in the right direction. And she was a former host of Living Dayton, and she was also a Channel 2 news reporter. So we've got, after the parade is following the Brethren tree lighting event, which will have Santa Claus and cookies and food trucks and the crowning of the little Mr. and Mrs. New Lebanon, and the tree lighting ceremony. So I've got some flyers to pass out for the council. So you guys have that. And
Actually, what's the time? What time do you have this?
the time for everything, it's the craft show and the music for the school is at 9, from 9 to 3, yeah. And then the parade lineup is at Fools, and that starts at 4:30. And the forms for the parade, you can pick them up at FN Bank, or you can contact myself. Tree lighting is following the parade, so we're shooting for between 6 and 6:30. Absolutely. You're welcome. Do you need one, or hang one up for us? That'd be great. Thank you. Yeah, and it's December 13th. I know, I'm out, I'll look at you guys years later. Do you guys have any questions or any concerns? I'll get with the police department, fire department, service department, I'll get with them here in a week or two after Thanksgiving, that'd be okay? That gives us enough time? Okay, cool.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to see you're putting this on, you do a great job.
You really do,
Thank
yeah.
you.
It's super.
Yes.
Michelle Wadowski, 301 West Report.
I have nothing.
Nothing, thank you. All right, next is administrative staff comments, so please, chief, we'll start off with you, sir.
I have nothing new. I think those two have.
I don't have anything bad.
Just real quick, we did our brain body cams, high tech, way past what I got going. But they're linked with our tasers, they are up and running, so.
Super.
But I mean, they're quality picture, they are, our old ones we got rid of, mine was the buttons hanging on by a piece of electrical tape. And, we needed these, they're up and running, thank you guys very much, these body cams.
Anybody have anything for police department? Can you clear something up for me? There was some information passed on social media again about a shooting that took place that ended up being in Phillipsburg and it drove people crazy.
Yes,
Can we
see several calls on
Yeah,
that.
can you just mention that real quick, there was no shooting?
WHIO got the whole city along. It was, Phillipsburg, it was not here in Lebanon, same on the main street, but, you know, we called and talked to the active guys, if there was a shooting, we would have, but yeah, WHO reported the wrong city. So yeah, there's nothing here in Lebanon.
Got it.
Not gonna.
Okay, thank you very much.
What is the staffing situation, you guys full staff or?
We're trying, we're fighting. It's, as you can see all over the country. I do recruiting, I hire, it's, with the Captain Cat, we've been beating the bushes and we're looking. But, it's tough right now, you know, Montgomery County's down 14, Dayton's down 43, Beaver Creek's hiring, you know, everybody's hiring right now, so it's tough. But, we are getting some really good stuff.
We got some good things rolling. The one thing we're fighting though is our top out pay is $10 less per hour than some agencies in the area, their start out pay. So they're having a hard time hiring people. So that's just the state of law enforcement or civil service. You know, I'm sure the fire service is experiencing much of the same thing. So that's what we're up against. So the people that we have here, they're dedicated to this village. So we have a really good group of people. Always, if you have any good candidates that are interested in working here, it's a great place to work. Lots of support from our council, especially our community, which we really appreciate.
Anybody have anything for police department? Listen, I'm sorry.
So there's been some noise about an officer that was recently hired.
Yes.
Care to address that?
If you like that, yes, I would actually.
Oh, I would.
Yeah, I do the hiring. He was my hire, absolutely. We got the chance to hire, a guy named Jeff Thomas, who had some trouble with the city of Dayton. If anybody's ever dealt with the city of Dayton, you know that once number 1 or 2 has you, it's on, you're in trouble. He got charged, I'm sorry, he did not, he got accused of some stuff and was absolutely never charged. Never saw specs, never nothing. It says pending investigation, there is no pending investigation. I was with the, FOP president for the city of Dayton, and he said it's absolutely nothing. He said, you don't hire this guy, you're an idiot. This guy has skills and qualities that we need by the boatload. I talked to one of the senior sergeants over there, and he's like, I was with him in the investigation, it's clear, it's nothing. Hire this guy. So I did. I know the guy for 23 years. I can personally vouch for his honor and his integrity. He's the one to set up our body cams and tasers. Because most of us, you know, I can barely set my watch, let alone something like that. But he's the one that took care of it and put us, and he is pushing us now through the train wreck of policies that haven't been updated in years. He's a Lexipol expert. He's running with one of the ones we brought over from the county to get us back into the policies that we need to have because they're so outdated. This was a very, very good hire. I stand by that 100%. I would never put my stamp on anything for the city. You guys took me in. You guys adopted me. You made me like family. I would never put anybody here that would hurt us. I say us now, because I feel like you guys are my favorite. I stand 100% by this guy, without a doubt. And if you guys ever have questions, I know a lot of the internet trolls or whatever come in and speak their mind. My door's open. My door's open. Any one of you guys live here, come see me. My name's Chad Knight. I'm lieutenant. Come see me anytime. I'll sit down with you, go through the whole thing.
So with having said that, I have another question. Did you get any calls or emails just inquiring about if this is true or not true? Or hey, have you guys looked into it?
No. I looked into it from the beginning.
Yeah.
I was in the beginning, like I said, I've known him for 3 years.
Yeah.
The only-
Yeah, I've seen a common denominator here.
And a lot of it was anonymous on certain ones that attack the city of the village quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it's, if I did make a tactical error and hire this guy, is that he could easily do my job, maybe a better job tomorrow, so. But he's that good. So, without a doubt.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
We talk a lot. And, I got your backs always. You guys just keep it up, just keep doing what you do. Because we see it.
We need bias.
I mean, all I hear is, we pull you guys over for speeding game tickets, we do this, we do that, I mean, it's getting back to what we wanted to do. You know,
We'd like some more in the community involved with the police department. We're actually looking at different methods, maybe through Dixie, to have maybe possibly an explore program.
outstanding.
Something with the police department, if you guys know residents who would like to be involved with the police department, please come see me.
There has been a COPP discussion a few years ago about doing something just like that, and unfortunately, there was nobody ever got any paper of it.
We're trying.
All right, thank you guys, I appreciate it. Fire chief.
So we finished up and sent to the billing company the renewal for Medicare, or it's Medicaid. This time, we have to revalidate with them every so many years, along with Medicare, to be able to continue EMS billing to them. Our radios came back today that we had chipped earlier this year. They had to go to Columbus to Marks to be, the link layer had to be turned on in them, and only Marks could do that. So they came back tonight and they were reinstalled in the trucks. The biggest thing is December 7th is Santa Claus's ride through town in the fire truck. That starts at 5. I did see a post was sent to me about a street. The unfortunate thing is we cannot do a few of the streets. And that is due to the way people park cars, the configuration of the cul-de-sac. I cannot put a $750,000 plus truck down a street that's then gonna have to back all the way back up the street. It's not safe. The crews usually tell me which streets they're not gonna do and why they don't do them. So I just wanted to clarify, we try to hit as many as we can, but if there is a parking concern or a safety risk involved, then there are a few streets that are excluded from the list.
Right. Outstanding, chief, thank you. Anybody have anything for fire chief? Dennis, you're up.
Good evening. We'll start with the showers. Can you hear him?
Yeah.
Public meeting.
Just you.
All right, we'll try this again. The shafts and the orbitals are being installed as we speak. It's a month late, but they are now being done. That should help lower the ammonia that goes out of the wastewater plant. That should help the treatment process for the good bacteria, keep them alive so they can do their job. And that's one of the issues on our EPA list, so that's being taken care of. It's a little late, but we're moving forward with it. Another issue on the EPA list was a permit to install for the belt press. There's a lot of paperwork I have to do for that was never done. might have to get engineers involved in that one. I'm still looking for the paperwork to find out if it was done before the belt press was installed. We need the belt press in order to press the sludge and make tape and haul to the landfill. If not, we'll be in the same boat as we were when I first started. So, we are doing a really good job of pressing now. We've got our mixed liquor down to around 2,800. I'd still like it down under 2,000, but we're making progress. And I'm gonna give credit to the service department and whoever runs that belt press, that's doing an awesome job. We'll see here. On the EPA recognition, we also have where the vehicle was stolen and they want a risk mitigation done on the internet side of everything. That will be done with our in-house IT person. Bad things, David, I think. And the physical one has already been done. From the police department, they came in and did an investigation on the wastewater plant and the surrounding area around it. So a lot of it's being taken care of at the moment, debris being picked up, fences being repaired, and gates being locked, stuff like that, making sure everything gets locked up. We now have cameras and stuff like that. We're working forward, we're getting stuff done for that. That's about it on big stuff. A couple little things going on, but that's basically the normal, taking care of itself.
Anybody have anything for them?
Thank you. I was a little bit late, but thank you.
Keep it up, you're doing great. How about you, Darryl?
We're working on new season right now, weather permitting. Getting trucks and equipment ready for winter weather, which right around the corner, sooner than we all know. We did get Marilee patched, and we'll be working on Kane as soon as weather permits. And free time, we've just been chipping away at that vulnerability assessment, which is what come down after the incident happened down there. That also ties into the EPA's findings as far as the plant and security down there. Just trying to chip away at it anytime we can and help him out with some of his EPA stuff. As far as JC had mentioned something about the streets that are tight to get down, if you have any that you want me to get no parking signs up for you guys, I can just give me a day or two heads up if you got a list and see what I can do for you. Other than that, just moving on.
Anybody have anything for Darryl?
Thank you.
Keep up the good work, man. You guys are doing it. How's your salt supply? I heard that the place caught fire last week.
We're doing pretty good. I will make it through the year until I figure out what the situation is kind of down there with some current buildings. I don't want to basically end up with a bunch that I've got to haul off somewhere just to bring back. So we have enough to handle for the year, and I'm hoping that we can get it low enough that I don't have to do a major relocation just to figure out what we're going to do with that area.
Good.
So as soon as I get that figured out, hopefully by spring, we'll be able to get all that squared away and figured out and move on with that situation.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you again. Super good job. Keep it up. You guys are doing a great job. Water.
Yeah, just a few items. First, the gentleman that's making comments to Councilman Bass, certain exercising his First Amendment rights. But one item that I'd like to weigh in on, there was a request that council take some action. I've looked at your charter, I've looked at the ordinances, I've looked at state law. City council has no power to do anything with a sitting council member. So that's not an option. So just thought I'd let council know that. Item two, picking up on the body cam. I know everybody's happy to have the new ones, but we do have some public records requests for body cam footage based upon the old cams, and the license that we had to edit and redact those tapes has expired. And they're so old that we're going to have a hard time getting them redacted. I looked into public records law to see if there's an exception for that. There is not. So we do have to produce it. So there will be an expense of getting, a third-party vendor to do the redaction. And so you'll see that coming up in probably another, appropriation. So one advise council that, and let's see. I believe the acting village manager passed out a letter that I sent to the Montgomery County Board of Elections. And our charter, section 201 of our charter, reads that council members shall be a qualified elector in the municipality and shall have been, prior to the date of filing a declaration of candidacy, a continuous resident of the municipality or any territory annexed thereto for 1 year, and any qualifying electorate shall be in good standing on all new Lebanon municipal income taxes prior to the filing of declaration of candidacy. During their term of office, they shall continue to be a resident and qualified elector, and must remain in good standing in all municipal income taxes throughout their elected term. If any council member shall cease to possess any qualification for such office, they shall forfeit their office. So with the election, we did a review of all council members, see if they were in good standing, and all council members came up, and I did a review of all council candidates, and I'll pass out the email that I sent to the finance director to do the checks into good standing. And one of the candidates did not come back in good standing. And in that email, I listed the 4 items that are part of good standing. It's all required municipal income tax returns must have been filed for the relevant period for the village's tax. Relevant period starting the date of candidate declaring candidacy through qualified electors term in office, as set forth in the Lebanon Charter 2.01. All municipal income tax owed must be either paid or payment arrangements must be placed and current. No unaddressed or outstanding delinquent tax liability of the village that will show the taxpayer out of compliance with the village tax ordinance. Taxpayer must not be under formal village enforcement action for municipal income tax delinquency during the term of office or election candidacy if applicable. So I just bring this to council's attention that may be an issue when we go to see candidates, but the board of election has not certified the election just yet. So that's to be determined. And so that is the last of what I'll speak there right now. Then I've got 2 items that I want to address in executive session this evening.
Anybody have anything for the law right now?
I do.
Go ahead.
Do you have to be certified to do public records requests?
Beg your pardon?
Do you have to be certified to do public records requests?
I'm certified.
Meaning, can anyone fill public records?
Well, we've got public record manual policy, so yeah, there's, we've got staff that will produce public records, yes.
Okay, can council members fill them? Especially if they come from the lawyer?
Well, council members should not be filling public records.
Okay.
I'm confused with. All right, so your question was, can a council member
Fill a public records request?
did public records requests come into the council member?
Yes.
No, that's crossing the line between employee and the elected.
Well, you might want to take a look at it. I'll forward
it. So
I'll forward it to you.
okay.
More motion, you know?
Yes.
Anybody else have anything else to order?
Well, our chief is in the office because it was a crazy day today. I just want to give a few updates. Franklin Street is complete. It is open. It was a rough project. Service department was extremely helpful, have stepped in, Dennis, another thank you. I got it done. There's one open item that, we're working with the engineer on, that was an engineering kind of error that was supposed to be picked up, that will be rectified, with somebody's driveway. We have some money left over from some paving projects, so Daryl had identified some spots through town that were really bad. So sections of Foreman and Gregory, were patched last week, and they did a really good job. To piggyback off of the fire department Santa Parade, there's cookies with a cop the same day, December 7th, and that is 2-4 at the firehouse. Leaf pickup is continuing that week through December 5th, I believe. The court building, we have 2 investors that I've met with. One we actually have an offer for, and we'll be going into executive session to discuss. The other one is working on a bid, that an offer. 2 completely different investors, one's looking at more of a medical facility type, proposal, the other one, they're looking at possibly, assisted living. So they're 2 completely different, concepts for the court building. For those of you that weren't here, we had the budget hearing earlier, Tom and Brian, our financial consultants, did an amazing job preparing our 2026 budget. Staff is doing amazing, the way that the service department is getting things done. They are backlogged from things from years ago that haven't been done, and they're taken care of. Daryl's doing a good job delegating that. Dennis is doing an amazing job, the water and sewer plant. We all know the condition of that, and the Band-Aids and the neglect that's had throughout the years, and costing us some money, but it's overdue, and public drinking waters and our sewer system is extremely important. The PD, the fire, you guys are amazing. The PD, I stand behind these guys 150%. For whatever reason, they seem to be getting a little bit of a wrath right now. I don't know why, it's totally undeserved. They came into a mess. It's gonna take a very long time to get through the mess. Maybe one day we can discuss the mess. Until then, we'll leave it at that. The office workers, Beth and Tammy and Vicky, you guys are just amazing. You have stood strong, stood solo, gotten frustrated. You 2 are amazing, and you 2 are genuinely at the heart of the village. I don't know what they would do without you. But Glenn, everybody that works here has been completely amazing. Everybody is excited and refreshed, and there's this new passion with these employees that they're taking pride in their work, and they're wanting to make things better. And it's a really good feeling to be a part of. And everybody's become a family and does a really good job. So I'm very proud and very thankful that they serve our community. Trying to update on Mr. Ed's FLSA suit. We signed an agreement last night that's officially been settled. The original proposal was denied, so went back and recalculated. He was ahead of the 2 years of his blended pay, with having 2 positions within the village at 2 different pay rates. So going back the 2 years, which is the statute of limitations, for the claim, we were looking at about $22,000. So from when he reported it, which was 9/13 of 24, we had to go back to 9/13 of 22. And again, this is something that he's been bringing up for several years. That's been ignored. It's finally been addressed, and he's gotten the money, or he will be getting the money as soon as Beth pays him. He will be getting the money that he's earned. And I think that is it right now. Like I said, I have my list, and there's a lot going on, and we're just getting stuff done.
Anybody, anything for Sharon?
You're doing a great job. And I suggest you hire someone for sure to help her request.
I did have one question. Well, we had this case compliance report. Do you know anything about it?
I think that's from here.
I know he's not here, we won't win. Oh. He's, the system I was pretty, a lot of different.
Now, it's in compliance, somebody had done a public records request asking for, the number of warning letters that have gone out and if people were complying, the concerns that people were complying with the notices, and you had a 97% compliance rate, for this fall cleanup campaign he was doing, so.
So he's saying that there's 5 households that's non-compliance.
With what he sent out, correct?
So 2 of them like across the street from anybody.
I think there's one right there.
There's only one
There's, yes, so,
you know, I have a hard time thinking that there's only 5. That's what the problem is, and I want to verify, can you find out if he's actually went and followed up on all of these?
you're saying there's more.
I'm saying there's a lot more, there's not just 5, everybody did not get on board and say,
Right.
So, because I have a feeling that he's getting a phone call maybe from somebody and just writing it without even verifying it. And this is just my feeling, and I'm not gonna say anymore, but there is, I don't think there's a follow through to really verify for one. If it's actually a claim going on. There might have been, like a call might have been in the yard once and then they moved it. But then he's already sent it out, not verified the call still in the yard. Or they, like, the police probably did it from my house that, you know, they did write the guy up, he cut a little portion, but you still see the one tweet. And the only reason why they did that is because I made a comment because I felt like I was singled out. And, that's the only reason. They didn't get that house, which is wholly noticeable, versus a wood skin that has wood in it, that still has it, but that's not even really what they're saying is junk either. We didn't never know what junk was. So, but that's the only thing I can think of what they were talking about, which has been there since we bought the house, so. But I have a feeling that this 5, it's not realistic number, it's a big number.
So I will tell you that, he does go out and he does follow up. He's learning the process. Gary was put into a position that, I don't think he asked for, and I don't think that he was trained for. I am currently in discussion with, Derek Shaw of Farmersville. He has reached out, he's offered to work with Gary. Gary's kind of had to teach himself how to use the iWorks program. He's new to zoning. He will tell you that he needs help. When I went around with him and tried to give him some assistance, then I'm scrutinized and we're back to where we're at. So you either want me to help him or you don't. It's very hard to drive around. I will tell you, one person trying to drive, not get in an accident, and look for violations. I give him some suggestions. He has taken them. He has been working with iWorks. He's adjusted some of the templates that he's been using, which are working out great. He is trying. He needs help. So, like I said, Derek Shaw in Farmersville, he has offered to come out and work with Gary. I'm waiting for his proposal. Gary's all on board. I do believe that there are a lot of zoning violations out there, and, you know, one day you'll hear that we're starting to look like a certain community and people are upset about it and they want something done, but then the next day you're gonna hear that we're trying to turn it into an HOA and then let's move Gary. So I think as a community, we need to decide, do we want to hold people to standards? There's rules for a reason, the same reason why there's speed limits. You know, you may think, why is there a speed limit? You know, if you don't have a speed limit, then you're gonna get the people that are out there driving 120 miles an hour. So by nature, humans want to break laws, people don't always follow laws or rules. Same thing with zoning, zoning is a necessary part of a community, because what's acceptable to some is not acceptable to others. And people, a lot of you are homeowners and you work hard to purchase your home and you should be able to enjoy your home and, you know, maintain property values and not have eyesores. So there is an importance for zoning. I am working on getting Gary help. You know, I have no problem on my own time going out, but I'm not gonna deal with the critique anymore. I'm working really hard with all these departments to try to fix a lot of just a mess. And you can only do so much, so please have a little bit of grace. There's a lot to do, a lot to be done, and, I'm with the proposal from Derek and pass it along and see if we want to bring somebody in.
Can I say something to that?
Yes.
2 years ago, Gary Long was hired into that position, and I questioned why he was getting put into that position, and they said that he knew ordinances and he could figure it out. It's been 2 years. If you can't figure it out by now, it's time. It's time.
Yeah, okay, well, and I've had meetings with him and, I mean, I'm not gonna disclose and employee relationships, but, there are discussions that are happening, so we have a certain level of, and there's a certain level of expectations for all employees, and if someone is not fulfilling their duties, then decisions need to be made.
Good. All right, good, okay. All right, next is council member comments. 5 minutes per council member. Mr. Sands, we'll start with you. Ms. Sexton.
I have just a couple things, so there was an incident that really needs to do with our community, however, I do want to let the public know. My brother, experienced to have 2 really nice big pickup trucks and actually 3, I apologize. And they went out, to get in their truck and none of their fobs worked on any of their vehicles. And long story short, after taking all 3 trucks to the dealerships, they put like a jammer or a grabber on it, which is a device. It basically shuts your key fob down so they can come back and steal your truck. So just letting you know it's going on. Just be aware, something like that occurs, obviously call the police department. And FBI is involved and the whole 9 yards, so just it's crazy.
Yeah, that's you may want to add about one of those little tag things that you can hide somewhere on your truck, where you can track it if it gets stolen. Because I was thinking about doing that myself. Because the push button ones, apparently they can read the program somehow and then get your fob and then onto the vehicle.
Well, if you have GM, they have on SAR for that, so another guy has GM, I don't know if Dodge and Ford has stuff like that, so GM will track the vehicle.
Mr. Joy.
Yeah, I actually have plenty to say, but I won't say anything. But Mr. Kinney, I do agree with you. That's all.
Mr. Beck.
Can I go last, Mr. Mayor?
Sure. Mr. Cooper.
Nothing tonight.
Vice Mayor. All right, Mr. Beck, I'm gonna give my time to you.
Thank you, sir. It won't be.
Fine, I'm just gonna skip it.
So yeah, there's a lot of ongoing things being said, and I am not at liberty to discuss them, but I will answer your question. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere, I'm not stepping down. It has not affected my ability to maintain and operate the village in any capacity. And the only other thing is, last time I checked, I live in America, and I'm a free man. So you can bring your accusations and stuff, you're entitled to that. And we'll just see how it turns out. I feel like the best is yet to come.
Yeah. That's it. All right. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn into executive session pursuant to revised code 121.22G2 to consider the sale of public property and pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G3 for a conference with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body and are the subject of pending or imminent court action. Do I have a second?
So.
Councilmember Back.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Acton. Yes. Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton.
Yes.
Councilmember Joy.
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson. Councilmember Sands. 7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
Okay, there will be business once we return from executive session.
Excuse me.
After executive session, we hear that we're worried. We will escort you guys to your cars. If you guys want it, just let us know. We'll be at the PD. We will take your cars. Make sure you guys get your cars safe. But that option is also.
Yeah. So they kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be in third.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, like,
I can't. If they followed it up and they're. I can tell you 30.
Right. Well, that's what I like to see.
Yes. Engineer, have it. Ready to go.
Right.
You know, if you find it, let's go back.
Right, I'm not saying it's all okay. No, that's.
Yeah, sorry.
So he's a bug loader, tractor. And he gets to the ladder. And I'm getting to the lines. And it's pretty much shit. So I finally get out. The tree is so big around. Brings around. Tree ring. I took it off. I'm sitting off the top. So there's these property called cross strands, and they come down off of it. Or off of the seat. Behind the seat or park by. And crisscross the tree, and then they go down, but then they crisscross again. You can't get on them, trying to tighten them down, and you know that by the time we got done, I bet the things about 5 feet. When I come down, he's like, he's like, I need you to go back up there and put another ratchet strap on the platform. Get that around the track. Look, the platforms. The 2 0 once you know, it's 1.5. So it's like this far away from the creek. So I'm like, yeah. So he climbed back there.
I let him make the service part one. Leaves that makes that up front. And it's to this day.
I don't know if you're like with this, you're sitting in a nice mobile office, just pulled up. You have something on about children in the summer.
Oh, which you were referring to, your foot a little wet?
No, I was so clutching. I had to drop that ball by the way, and I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my wall, office, watching the wires go back forward. The scale house, the boss was there, and I said, well, we bullshit for 2 hours. Hey,
That's the only thing, like, you know, like,
in all honesty,
oh, yeah.
Because one, people can't fucking drive.
When it's 75,
Yes, when it's a little bit of wetness on the ground.
Everybody gets how to drive.
Oh. Want to see somebody that don't know how to drive? Drive to Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, no, I hate it. That is the absolute worst.
I'm gonna run.
Drive here, add 3 hours.
You know, every time I've been.
I've been there a little, I can still not crazy.
I got their kids there last night. I got their. I just wanted to feel Atlanta, Georgia in the mornings, in the evenings, in the afternoon, they're straight through.
It's always good. The last time, always.
Last time, brother,
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Like
a 15-hour.
washed out, it took less time to come back to there.
Now, my old car that I've got, yeah, I know. I was putting it in, 500 miles on it. I took off and I went to Daytona. Thanks to the week. I went back. I'm in the northern part of Atlanta. I felt something hit my foot. God, he was working. I'm driving Atlanta with no headlights and no taillights. And I kept putting my foot on the brake, and I didn't brake on people better. See, there is a car here, I gotta go hit me. If you go by. Pull off into a car barrel. And light. Reached down, he's back in it, got hit like that, so let's roll. Hey, well, okay.
Well, we had, kids.
Well, she lives in Chicago, didn't have any problems. Flew for business into Chicago. Coming back. Got to the airport Monday. Late flight. The next thing I said, so there were 6 of them. 2 got a little car. And none of them had cars. She got off the Speedia, got off the Enterprise, and had a car. And they drove, and you drop another roll off the hotel. But then went to the airport. These are luggage. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, they go the doors to go into the airport. She says, it's like a ghost town. And the airlines that they cleared was all the way down to the end. And she saw the guy go out, and the guy shut the door and was gonna walk out. And got her luggage. Well, and our flight. Well, come to find out, they have an air conditioning, the plane that was coming from Minneapolis, landed in LA. X. Landed the plane, got on another plane, looked all over the place. To fly. And so. Yeah, let's Columbus. So. We didn't leave Hawaii. I was sleeping one time. And, you know, it's like. He started driving back and he said, we're gonna get there if I can make it home. What makes it make sense? When they land, the same for the rest of the trip. And it's like, I just want to when it gets to Awesome. The rest, stem cell. All that came up, they were flipping, just so those for the girls. So, she'll have support from their two girls, but, yeah, and they're, of course, the girls are coming in, one's coming in. One's coming Monday, and the other one's coming in Wednesday for Thanksgiving. But, you know, he was in well, he's retired. And he's a big contractor job. He's in the same building, and the same office, and the same desk. Make it 3 times as much as he was. You know, when we were taking our tours, one of the guys that was doing our tours, told all that, he goes, we've got homeless, you know, we've got homeless. Homeless, street people. Don't have alcohol and drug problems. And then we have the homeless, which doesn't have enough money to buy a house because housing out there. Not down to shit, starts out at $1 million.
All about the birth or trying to get permits to rebuild either. People are running from.
And they live on the beach. It's like a little community. I mean, you know, and they've got cars, and they go to work every day. And that's some homeless. Fire.
Yeah.
We're doing 85%. They have a house on. So that was funny to us. Back in the 80s. Like, where you can buy 2 acres. So like, the last eruption was he said to me, there's been and he said, an hour or 2 days. Well, when we were over there, we stayed at a house. The guy that lived in the front house, and he rented out
the back end. And he goes, now the washer dryer is in this room, he says, when that door is locked. Unlocked. But if it's unlocked, you're more than welcome to use the lock, like washer dryer. And he was telling us, he says, now, when you guys leave that, he says, I actually have to wait 10 days. Rent that back out. That's something that why has made it the law. Yeah.
Alrighty then.
All right, I just want to accept the motion to return from public session or meeting. Executive session.
Second.
Councilmember Sands?
Yes.
Councilmember Down?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton?
Yes.
Councilmember Joy?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson? 7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
As part of the process of returning from executive session, I am, as mayor, I am certifying that our discussion in executive session was limited to considering the sale of public property and encounters with the attorney for a public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are subject to a pending or imminent court action. There was a resolution. I'll read a resolution. We're not taking, there'll be no action taken on this tonight, but I'll read a resolution anyway. Resolution 25-40, resolution authorizing the execution of mutual settlement agreement, full release of all claims and demands, and then the agreement with Curtis Hensley. Like I said, no action was taken. There was none tonight, and we'll talk about this at a later time.
No, the resolution does not.
Okay. Our next regular council meeting will be Tuesday, December 2nd at 7:30 p.m. And we have a motion to adjourn this regular council meeting.
Second. Councilmember Joy?
Yes.
Mayor Nicholson? Councilmember Sands? Yes. Councilmember Back?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Atkins?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Councilmember Sexton?
Yes.
7 yes, 0 no, motion carries.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you for the meeting.
I did find out. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I think. It's what we said. They walked out, there was some. I didn't know. And so they were doing some due diligence. So,
Make sure that you don't want to. Yes, sir.
And you have your address, you should get it, and you'll choose to manufacture.
So there was.
Stay safe.
They got like. That's fine.
Yeah. Last second. I'm pretty sure. I mean, not saying anybody should
No,
all trades.
Yeah, pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not around. One of them tonight, I'm like.
But my dog's still. Actually, nobody's going run away.
Ready?
Yeah.
Guess my hobby's supposed to drop by. Lunch, so I don't want to get back out and out.